Very good morning. You're watching Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha with the breakfast news. Let's start with the top stories this Tuesday morning. Prime Minister says BJP emerging as a third force in Kerala on day 2 of his visit to the state. Inaugurates Combined Commanders Conference being held for the first time outside Delhi. Meeting to iron out difference over GST inconclusive. Government to meet Congress leaders once again as repeated disruptions in Rajya Sabha continue in the penultimate week of the winter session. 10th WTO Ministerial Conference gets underway in Nairobi. India to make strong pitch for finding permanent solution to food security issue as leaders aim to strike deal to liberalize global trade. Hurriyat hardliners meet Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit in Delhi, ask Islamabad for consistency in its Kashmir policy. India's envoy to Pakistan says POK will be discussed during Foreign Secretary level talks next month. And a ceasefire to halt 9 months of war in Yemen to begin today morning, coinciding with start of the UN-backed peace talks in Switzerland. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has expressed worry that the winter session of Parliament is also headed for a washout. Writing in a Facebook post, Jaitley said that the reasons for a washout are changing by the hour. He reminded the Congress of the legacy of Jawaharlal Nehru, who said that those who sit in Parliament have the responsibility to govern the country. Jaitley's comments came after a meeting with the Congress over the ambitious GST bill ended inconclusively. There are just 7 working days left of the current winter session. So as we told you, the deadlock on the GST bill continues despite Finance Minister Arun Jaitley holding talks with Congress leaders to sort out the differences. Now, with only 7 days left for the winter session to conclude, Jaitley and Parliamentary Affairs Minister M. Venkaiah Naidu hosted a lunch for Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha Ghulam Nabi Azad, Deputy Leader Anand Sharma and Chief Whip in Lok Sabha Jyotiraditya Scindia to discuss the issue of GST and functioning of Parliament. At the meet, the Congress made it clear to the government that the engagement between them cannot be restricted to just one bill and that other important legislations were also pending. Citing absence of Leader of Congress in Lok Sabha Mallikarjun Kharge, the party sought another meeting which was readily accepted too by the government, which is keen to break the logjam on this key economic reform measure.
There should not be this over-obsession only with the passage of one bill called the GST. India is, and Parliament functioning is more about the passage of one bill. Please look at the number of important legislation which is pending in the Rajya Sabha or in the Lok Sabha. They all are important.
Rajya Sabha proceedings were paralysed as Congress and BSP members protested against the SAD-BJP government in Punjab over alleged atrocities against Dalit youth in the state. Both parties pressed for immediate dismissal of the Punjab government. The government, however, sought to downplay the allegations and maintain that state issues cannot be discussed in the House. The uproar led to a series of adjournments.
Rajya Sabha on Monday saw the Congress and the BSP upping the ante against the BJP and its alliance partner in Punjab, Akali Dal, over the alleged anti-Dalit activities in the state. Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad demanded the dismissal of the Punjab government. BSP leader Mayawati also launched a sharp attack on the Punjab government and demanded the centre's intervention.
पंजाब में जो कोalition गवर्नमेंट है अकाली दल की और बीजेपी ये आतंकवाद से भी बदतर है, ड्रग माफिया की सरकार है, ये शराब माफिया की सरकार है, कोई लॉ एंड ऑर्डर पंजाब में नहीं है।
मामला अति गंभीर है, इस मामले को सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को गंभीरता से लेना चाहिए, वहाँ की सरकार को बर्खास्त करना चाहिए।
Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi condemned all incidents of atrocities against Dalits. He also urged the state government to take stern action against the culprits.
इस तरह की दरिंदगी को किसी भी रूप में जस्टिफाई नहीं ठहराया जा सकता। जो भी गुनाहगार हैं उनके खिलाफ कड़े से कड़ी कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। ये हम राज्य सरकार से भी अपील करेंगे और कोई भी गुनाहगार इसमें बचना नहीं चाहिए।
But unrelenting Congress and BSP members marched into the well of the House. As proceedings were disrupted, the protests evoked a sharp response from the Deputy Chairman.
I am requesting the slogan shouting members to go back their seat. Your action is undemocratic.
Repeated pleas by Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari to allow question hour to function also went unheeded. The House witnessed several adjournments through the day.
Please go back to your places. You have no locus standing in the well, none whatsoever.
The incident referred to by the opposition happened on Saturday in Abohar in Punjab. Limbs of two men were chopped off at a farmhouse allegedly owned by an Akali Dal leader. An FIR has been filed against 11 people, including the Akali Dal leader Shivlal Doda and his nephew. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on, India will be discussing the issue of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir with Pakistan when its foreign secretaries meet for talks next month. Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan TCA Raghavan hinted at this while giving a lecture in Islamabad. Raghavan's remarks came just days after External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, during which she called on Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and met the Prime Minister's advisor on foreign affairs, Sartaj Aziz. Meanwhile, in India, two hardliner Hurriyat conference leaders met Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit in Delhi to discuss the recent resumption of dialogue between both countries. The team told the Pakistani envoy that Islamabad should maintain consistency and firmness over its Kashmir policy. Hurriyat's meeting has come in for criticism from various political parties.
Who is Hurriyat? Hurriyat is not an organization recognized by Election Commission of India. Hurriyat has no political recognition. Hurriyat has no representation in the legislature in Jammu and Kashmir either. Hurriyat is no political, it is only an organization of hawks spreading fire, hatred and disdain in Jammu and Kashmir to create rot and riots.
Once again, it's a desperate efforts by the failed and frustrated Hurriyat conference. This is highly objectionable because whenever there should be a talks, there will be talks between India and Pakistan.
I don't know what are the intention of the Pakistani authorities, whether they are serious about the discussions and deliberations with the Indian counterpart, or they want to derail the entire process of deliberation and discussion and normalization of relationship.
Well, shifting focus from Kashmir to the southern state of Kerala, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the BJP has emerged as a third force in Kerala and it has given the people of the state a choice apart from the UDF and the LDF. On a two-day visit to the state, Modi received the Tri-Services Guard of Honour at the INS Garuda. He also inaugurated the Combined Commanders Conference at INS Vikramaditya off the Kochi coast. Kochi is hosting the Combined Commanders Conference, an annual Tri-Services event happening for the first time outside Delhi. The Prime Minister will also later unveil the statue of former Chief Minister R. Shankar, an event that is already mired in controversy. He's slated to meet Chief Minister Oomen Chandy before leaving for Delhi from Thiruvananthapuram later today. The 10th WTO Ministerial Conference gets underway in Nairobi today. Trade ministers from as many as 162 countries will meet in the Kenyan capital for negotiations aimed at a deal to liberalize global trade. Represented by Commerce Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, India will strongly pitch for finding a permanent solution to the food security issue and a mechanism to protect poor farmers from surge in imports. A hardening of stance by India ahead of the WTO ministerial meet in Nairobi. Commerce and Industry Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who is representing India at the conference, has made it clear that public stock holding for food security and the peace clause are two issues that India will not use as bargaining chips for anything in return. India has also ruled out linking the special safeguards mechanism with any other element during the four-day conference. Instead, the Indian delegation has pitched for concerted efforts for a permanent solution to the issue of public stock holding of grains for food security programs. Addressing a group of developing countries ahead of the ministerial, Nirmala Sitharaman said, and I quote,
Consistent with the 2014 General Council decision on the public stock holding for food security purposes, we expect members to engage constructively and make all concerted efforts to arrive at a permanent solution on public stock holding for food security purposes at this ministerial, unquote. Expressing regret over the fact that for decades, only a handful of farm lobbies of some countries have been shaping the discourse at WTO, having bearings on lives of millions of farmers in developing nations, the minister stressed that G33 must be able to collectively send out a message that any outcome in Nairobi must be balanced and cover all elements of the Doha development agenda. Emphasizing on this, she said, and I quote once again, "We cannot continue with the rhetoric of a development agenda without even a reasonable attempt to address issues which are of primary concern to developing economies. The reduction in the massive subsidization of the farm sector in developed countries, which was the clear-cut mandate of DDA, is now not even a subject matter of discussion today, leave aside serious negotiations." Developed nations, however, seek to broaden the mandate of the ministerial by inserting new issues such as investment, competition and e-commerce, and are not keen on pursuing the Doha development agenda. Amid two differing approaches, the Nairobi conference is set to see stormy sessions ahead. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, time for a very short break. Some more national news and all the international updates when we return. Do stay with us.
Get live Rajya Sabha session. News, views, reports and analysis you can trust on social media. Subscribe, follow, like Rajya Sabha Television.
Welcome back. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. Now, amid the ongoing stir on one rank, one pension, the government appointed a one-man judicial committee on Monday to look into the implementation of the scheme. Justice L. Narasimha Reddy, former Chief Justice of the Patna High Court, will head the one-man committee. Based in New Delhi, the committee will submit its recommendations within 6 months of the date of its constitution. It, however, can give interim reports to the government on matters related to its terms of reference. The terms of reference for the committee shall be to examine and make recommendations on references received from the central government on various issues concerning the scheme announced by the government last month. The ex-servicemen, however, have threatened to intensify their stir if their demands are not met by the centre within 3 weeks. They've even threatened to boycott the Republic Day celebrations. Meanwhile, retired personnel of various paramilitary forces have also declared to sit on protest in support of their demands of getting the one rank, one pension and special pay and pension allowances. The Association of the Paramilitary Veterans has announced a protest march to the Parliament on the 2nd of March 2016, an indefinite dharna at Jantar Mantar and picketing of all paramilitary headquarters in various states in support of their demand. Moving on to the weather front now, a biting cold wave has gripped several parts of North India. Temperatures in several areas in Himachal Pradesh hovered around the freezing point. The minimum temperatures ranged between -8 and -13 degrees in high-altitude tribal areas. Water pipes froze and burst at many places in mid and higher hills, while thick fog in several towns along the riverbanks disrupted normal life. Intense cold wave conditions also swept across Rajasthan, with train services being disrupted due to fog, even as Churu froze at -0.4 degrees Celsius, about 7 notches below normal. Cold wave conditions are also being witnessed in Jammu and Kashmir and parts of Punjab and Haryana. Night temperatures in Delhi are settling around 6 degrees. In the absence of any active western disturbance, below normal temperatures are likely to persist over the entire North Indian region, at least for the next 48 hours.
फायदा ठंड तो पड़ रही है, हम लोग को बहुत दिक्कत हो रही है। स्टीयरिंग पकड़ते गेयर लगाते तो हाथ बिल्कुल बर्फ बन जाते हैं, लेकिन क्या करें, ठंडी में पेट के लिए तो करना ही पड़ेगा कुछ।
ये कितने दिन हो गए लमसम ठंडी होते हुए?
ये आज चौथा दिन है। बहुत भीषण गर्म पड़ रही है। हम लोग गाड़ी चलाते तो बहुत दिक्कत होती है हम लोग को गाड़ी चलाने में।
कोहरे की वजह से कह लीजिए ट्रेनें हैं वो लेट हैं, ट्रेनें में सफ़र करना मुश्किल है क्योंकि ट्रेन नहीं आ रही है। सोचा बस से चले जाए तो बस भी नहीं है यहाँ को।
दिक्कत ये है कि बसेस बहुत लेट आ रही हैं, सुबह जाने वालों के साथ बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, कोहरा ज़्यादा हो रहा है जिस वजह से बसेस भी साथ में ट्रेन भी। बरेली के लिए तो कोई बस ही नहीं मिलती है सुबह के टाइम में।
And let's now take a look at the important events lined up for today in our segment, The Day Ahead. The 14th Shanghai Cooperation Organization Prime Ministers meeting, which opened on Monday in Zhengzhou in central China's Henan province, will conclude today. The two-day meeting brings together heads of government of the SCO member countries and the observer countries. Participants are expected to discuss SCO cooperation in trade, investment, finance, transportation and culture. Minister of State for External Affairs General V.K. Singh is representing India at the two-day meeting. Escalating its attack on the Congress over the National Herald case, the BJP is set to release a booklet titled Family Greed and National Blackmail that aims to inform its party leaders about the issue. The party will distribute the booklet, which is a compilation of a number of write-ups on the issue, among its MPs and leaders across the country to inform them on the issue and give them talking points. The Delhi Traffic Police will implement the Supreme Court appointed committee's recommendations from today. Driving licenses of traffic violators in the national capital will be suspended for 3 months according to the new rules. Seizing and suspension of driving licenses, even for the first offenders, will take place for jumping red light, drunken driving, overspeeding, using mobile phones while driving, and carrying passengers in goods vehicles. Aam Aadmi Party will hold statewide agitation in Punjab today to intensify its campaign against the SAD-BJP-led government to demand resignation to State Agriculture Minister Tota Singh for an alleged pesticide scam. Significantly, the Aam Aadmi Party's statewide protest will coincide with SAD and Congress parties' proposed rallies in Patiala and Bhatinda, respectively. The European Union is on target to extend economic sanctions against Russia in the coming days, according to several of the bloc's foreign ministers who met on Monday at Brussels for a two-day meet. The decision to roll over the sanctions by 6 months until the end of July 2016 was expected, though there were doubts over the timing of the move. Meanwhile, tensions between Russia and Turkey escalated to new high after Kremlin announced that a new summit between the presidents of Russia and Turkey, originally scheduled for Tuesday, has been cancelled. The latest bar between the two nations came after a Russian warship fired warning shots at a Turkish vessel into the Aegean Sea on Monday. Here's more on the story.
The meeting's cancellation comes a day after an incident between a Turkish fishing boat and a Russian warship, again highlighting the unease between the two nations and the potential for confrontation. A Russian warship fired warning shots at a Turkish fishing boat in the Aegean Sea on Monday to avoid collision. Captain of the Turkish boat said he was unaware his vessel was shot at. The Turkish military attaché in Moscow was summoned, while Turkey warned Russia not to push its patience.
Rusya ile şu anda uçağın düşürülmesinden sonra yaşadığımız süreçte her fırsatı tabii Rusya değerlendirmek istiyor. Biz öyle değiliz ama. Bir sorun var, spesifik bir sorun ve bunu Rusya'nın aleyhine her...
The incident comes on the heels of another naval complaint earlier this month. Turkey scolded the Russian ambassador after photos surfaced of what appeared to be a Russian serviceman posing with a rocket launcher in Turkish waters. Relations between the two soured over their differing goals in Syria. They escalated sharply in November when Turkish forces shot down a Russian fighter jet near the Syrian border. Russia retaliated by imposing economic sanctions on Turkey.
Bugüne kadar çok iyi siyasi ilişkilerimizin olduğu ve en önemli ticaret ortağımız olan Rusya'ya itidal çağrısında bulunuyoruz. Ama şunu da söylüyoruz, bizim de sabrımız sınırsız değildir. Bugüne kadar yaptıklarınıza...
With the recent offensive from Moscow, there seems to be less chance of cooler heads prevailing. Both President Erdogan and Putin are seen as strong nationalist autocrats, and with both unwilling to back down or lose face, experts say the crisis is unlikely to see any resolution in hurry. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The United States is set to raise the offensive against the Islamic State, hitting the militant group harder than ever. Days after the US airstrikes killed the finance chief of the militant group, Obama met with his defense secretary and senior generals at the Pentagon to step up the fight. Obama's rare Pentagon trip is part of the White House's increased focus on the Islamic State in the wake of the Paris attacks and the mass shooting in California. Noting that Islamic State had lost 40% of the territory it once controlled in Iraq, Obama said that the terror group had not had a single successful ground operation in either Syria or Iraq since the summer. But he cautioned that the United States and its partners faced a tough fight ahead and that the progress needed to be made faster against the group.
ISIL's lost thousands of square miles of territory it once controlled in Syria, and it will lose more. The special forces that I ordered to Syria begun supporting local forces they pushed south, cut off supply lines, and tighten the squeeze on Raqqa. We recognize that progress needs to keep coming faster. No one knows that more than the countless Syrians and Iraqis living every day under ISIL's terror, as well as the families in San Bernardino and Paris and elsewhere who are grieving the loss of their loved ones.
And news just coming in that the CBI has raided an office of the Chief Minister of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal. Kejriwal tweeted about this, saying, "My office has been raided." Kejriwal also targeted Prime Minister Narendra Modi, tweeting that when Modi could not handle him politically, he has resorted to such cowardice. For more details on the story, let's go across to our correspondent Anu Diwan. Anu, early morning shocker from the Delhi Chief Minister. What's this raid all about? Give us more details. All right, we've lost connection with our correspondent. We'll try and get back to her. Meanwhile, as you just heard, the Delhi Chief Minister early morning in a tweet has said that the CBI has raided his New Delhi office. He's also made a direct charge at Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying in his tweet that when Narendra Modi could not handle him politically, he has resorted to such cowardice moves. Our correspondent Anu Diwan will give us more details. We'll understand what the case is all about. And this issue, of course, is going to again bring both the Delhi government and the centre once again at the forefront. Remember, yesterday, the leaders of both parties were already embroiled in a lot of war of words over the slum demolition drive in Shakur Basti. The Congress also jumped into the picture. Let's go across to our correspondent Anu. Anu, the shocker news by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. What are the details? Why has the CBI raided the Chief Minister's office?
Still now there is no such first-hand information that why it has been raided, but the information is that the office has been sealed and all the officers have been requested not to move from their places. Nobody is allowed to move inside and nobody is allowed to move outside. The CBI is busy in raiding till now his office, and his office has been sealed, and Arvind Kejriwal is now blaming Modi government for this CBI raid. There is no such information that why it has been raided, because CBI has not completed its investigation, and the sources are telling that the cases which were reported to ACB must have been transferred to CBI, for which the investigation has been going on. But I should tell you that there is no such clear information that why the office has been raided. The investigation is still going on, and it is going on from the last 1 hour. They have sealed whole of the office, and nobody is allowed to move inside, and nobody is giving any such information, confirmed information that why it has been raided.
Anu, have you managed to get in touch with any of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders? Or was any prior notice served to the Chief Minister? Because it's a very unusual move by the CBI, raiding the Delhi Chief Minister's office. Anu, if you can hear me, have you managed to speak to any of the Aam Aadmi Party leaders? We understand the Chief Minister has given out details of the raid on his office through Twitter. But of course, our correspondent will keep getting us details on why this has happened, whether the CPI served a notice to the Chief Minister, what the party has been telling, what this entire case is all about. The Delhi Chief Minister has, in his tweet message, has said that the CBI has raided his office, whether it was a planned move, whether Kejriwal had earlier got a notice. Oh, we really don't know the details. Anu will be getting us more details on the story. So once again, both parties, the war of words is just going to escalate after yesterday, after that slum demolition drive where both Kejriwal and the BJP leaders were engaged in a war of words. Remember, more than 100 slums in the Shakur Basti area were demolished by the railways. The railways claimed the land was theirs, while Kejriwal said unless there was a rehabilitation process in place, the slums could not have been demolished. Yesterday, you saw this news being played up on almost all the TV channels, taking up a lot of TV debate space. And now, once again today, there's going to be a lot of politics being played out of why the CBI raided Arvind Kejriwal's office. You can see on your TV screens images of the grabs of the Twitter tweet message that Arvind Kejriwal has tweeted early this morning. You can read CBI has raided his office. He's not giving out any details on why, what the case is all about, how many officials actually entered into the office premises, how many people were present, whether Arvind Kejriwal was actually inside his office there or not, how did he get to know. All the details are yet to be awaited. Our correspondent will try and get us details on that story throughout the day. We'll be getting you details of that story in our subsequent bulletins. Meanwhile, we head into a very short break. We'll keep tracking that story for you in our subsequent bulletins. We head into a very short break. After that, an update of what's expected today in Parliament. Thanks for watching.